Welcome again to FirstOffTheBike.com's Tri Cafe, proudly presented by Team Degani Cycling Cafe. Got the usual suspects with us today. Got Mitch Anderson, raconteur and professional triathlete.
Buonanotte.
And also the Herald Sun's Daniel Hoy. And we're here again at the beautiful Team Degani Cycling Cafe. It's almost a museum here. It's got some great memorabilia, some good water/coffee. Hey, let's get straight into it. Ironman Australia was an enormous week for the sport, not only because of it's a big race, but for who raced it this season. Let's go first of all, Trent Chapman, the third place getter. He was certainly someone who was just outstanding on the day.
Absolutely, the guy swims like, well, a pro. He biked with the pros and he ran like a pro. And as an age grouper, that is an awesome performance. Trent, we salute you.
He certainly did ruffle a few feathers. People were saying about the swim start was all a bit messy and that they went off a bit early, but he's such a good swimmer. He could have gone a minute later and still caught him.
Yeah, and still come out with him. And if he comes out and can stay within them, pace with them on the bike, then anything can happen on the bike.
I could have sworn that at the start, when people were complaining about that, they sounded like it was 30 seconds. Come on,
it wasn't even that. And I was there. I watched it. It was 15. Not
it
even.
Was irrelevant.
Was exactly.
The guy raced with the pros all the day. It was awesome.
It was
first Aussie, Australian champion.
Exactly, Australian champion. Maybe they need to make a little bit more of that, a jersey or something. But take a look at this, guys. I want to show you a little bit of footage of our mate Guy Singh, who he really enjoyed himself as he came across the finish line. And we take a look now. Certainly, he's just doing some mad action.
This is the way they do it in Marrickville. I tell you, he's the Marrickville Mauler all over again, only subcontinental in background. How's the pink budgie smugglers?
They're sensational.
It's very, very good. If he's got that much energy, though, you think he hasn't left it all out on the course, I don't reckon.
Well, he certainly lived it up. Another person who lived it up and who made headlines, not just in the Ironman world, but in Australia and worldwide. And Dan, you would have been all over this, being a journo for one of the big papers, was Tony Abbott. And of course, Tony, the Mad Monk, kicked off by us, the media frenzy, a little bit earlier on last week, and I'm sure that people enjoyed your comments about the Mad Monk.
All we were reflecting on, I'm not going to go into it. Tony, we loved it.
It's the Australian way. If we can't take the piss out of a politician, who can you take the piss out of?
Well,
John Howard, our longest-serving Prime Minister. You ask 7 out of 10 people out here what they remember him for, and it's going to be that delivery in Pakistan that landed on his toes.
Point of release was all wrong there, wasn't it?
But in all seriousness, Tony Abbott, he brought a huge amount of media to the...
128 stories across the 4 days from Friday to Tuesday. 128. He was front page on the Sunday Telegraph. Then they did a follow-up on the Monday. Amazing. The sport's never seen anything like it.
And look, I don't know if it was orchestrated or not, but I thought his comments across the finishing line was something that people remember for a very, very long time, comparing himself to Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady, and also the Man of Steel, John Howard. And why shouldn't have Australian politics have an Ironman? I thought it was terrific. I thought it was a great story.
That's right. Of course, you can catch that interview on FirstOffTheBike.com. Just find it under the interview section, Mitch. But also, I want to talk about how just an honest age grouper that he was. He came in, he did 14 hours. This whole idea of overtraining was it made me laugh, because if he trained like everybody said, he would have gone 9:20.
Yeah, look, all I can say as a medical doctor, that preventative health is the biggest single issue facing health in Australia, and Tony Abbott coming to the party, the big dance, and doing Ironman, it was fantastic that he really puts the battlers out there. And I thought that the negative comments by Labor politics was really disappointing, especially the Health Minister Nicola Roxon coming out and bagging him. You make better policies if you're fit and healthy, and Tony Abbott, he's the poster child.
And a lot of people with that complain about not having enough time to actually get out and exercise, and he's a guy who would be working ridiculous hours, managing to train for an Ironman and finish in under 14 hours. It was a fantastic effort.
And his people, and I use that term with his press secretary and his people.
His homies.
Correct, his posse.
You mean that in an African-American type way, I think, Phil?
Well, that's right, and they're all gold chained up. But look, they were at pains to let everybody know that they didn't want the race disrupted for this guy. And of course, they're being directed by him. And they wanted just him to go out there and have a great race. In saying that though, at T1 when he came out to his bike, there were 20 people just standing around there watching him, and a couple of people started asking him questions. I think it was Channel 9. They were asking questions about, how you feeling, and the poor guy was just trying to get through.
Well, he did a 6-minute transition too, from T1 to T2. And if you hadn't seen the footage, you'd think you'd just be dawdling, but obviously that's why.
And and according to one of his own ministers, he looked like a gutted rabbit. Well done, Tony.
Exactly. We want to tip our hats for Tony Abbott. And the other bloke who was floating around up there was the Pros Pro, and Craig Alexander was there, and we caught up with Craig and had a little bit of a chat with him. And he's so measured as well, but very, very happy and very, very delighted with what was brought to the table.
And he's the Pros Pro too. Always looks good. The hair's always perfect. Everything's fantastic. Unlike you, Phil, it was very ordinary.
Oh, Phil. Oh, I mean, it's early to start teeing off on the Don't Get Me Started, but how was your rug? I mean, seriously, you got to embrace your inner Kojak. You don't need to wear a rug.
Look, I want to say that it was 15 hours, and the people who wrote in, have you got nothing better to do than pick on my hair?
Phil, come on, lift.
Coming up after the break, we're going to be talking about the ITU. Sticks Carterfelt is back in town, and we also might get a little bit of a chat into, are we being too soft at the moment? Welcome back to FirstOffTheBike.com's Tri Cafe, proudly presented by Team Degani Cycling Cafe. Well, just before the break, we alluded to some of the readers' questions that have been sent in, and thanks to all the people who did write in. We've got a stack of emails. Keep them coming at FirstOffTheBike.com.
Or your constructive feedback is happily taken.
But one of the questions were, are we being too soft? And Dan, I guess with technology and all the things that are going on, we had some people up in Port Macquarie saying that Mark Allen, Dave Scott never had the use of all that. But, are we too soft with everything that we've got available to us?
I'm going to say two words: compression socks. That just proves that we're too soft. It means that people are happy to look ridiculous if they think something is going to help them.
Hey,
wear them when you race.
Just wind it back a bit. I think that the jury's out. There's still evidence being garnered for compression socks. This is a whole other topic.
Hang on. Do they look ridiculous? Honestly,
seriously, if you're wearing them, you're a muppet.
Sure, I've got rollerblades, so
I've betted several women wearing them. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you put them down the front of your speedos, no doubt. The other big comeback this week, guys, was Sticks Carterfelt, and Brad Carterfelt. What a great job he did at ITU Mooloolaba. He certainly is on the pace and right where he wants to be just before Sydney.
He's back. He's had 2 years of bad luck, and now Sticks is just showing that he's a quality athlete.
We need him, don't we, Dan? We need him firing. I mean, the men's ranks, Dan Wilson, Courtney Atkinson, and then it's Sticks and you've got nobody.
Big shout out to James Sear. Had a terrific race, went out on his own in Mooloolaba on the weekend, and he's a real up-and-comer. He's early 20s.
But before we move on to Miranda Carfrey, freak.
She chicked most of the pro men. Have you seen her run in real life? She looks like she's in a massive hurry every time she gets on the run course. She's
she
crazy.
looks like she's a Duracell bunny.
Quick question, what's worse as a pro, Mitch, getting chicked or age group? No, I'm not asking you, I'm just asking for your opinion. I'm not sort of
Mitch would have to race for actually that to happen. That's okay.
That's kind of like asking, would you like to go to Pentridge or H Division? Same thing, you know what I mean? No, it's fine.
That's all we have time for just for the minute. When we come back after the break, Mitch is going to let loose with Don't Get Me Started. Well, Don't Get Me Started has got a cult following here in the triathlon world. Mitch, over to you.
Thanks. I feel like David Koresh when you talk about me like that. That's about how I feel. Anyway, this week I'm lining up the hit and run of Jordan Rapp. I mean, I wanted to just do a little bit of but we haven't got time for that. But Jordan lost several pints of blood. You didn't even have the decency to stop whoever the driver was. I mean, seriously, the guy's lying on the road. He looks half dead. He looks like a gutted rabbit. And what do? Oh, just drive off. You don't save the roadkill. Come on, lift. No hit and run. Poor Jordan.
Get well soon.
Get well soon.
And you too, Timmy B. That's all we have time for on this episode of Tri Cafe. Make sure you check out FirstOffTheBike.com, and thanks to the guys at Team Degani Cycling Cafe.
Stay classy on the forums.